my dear friends, I've been away from a long, won't I? Now, as you know, when I'm like away and not making new videos, I'd be like looking for some new guitars or something special to share with you. So I'm back after a long time. I hope you guys are doing good. I'm fine. I'm back with yet another PRS, which is added to my collection, and it's a fabulous guitar. If you do not want to go for a proper Les Paul and you want something modern to it, well, this is the guitar. Okay, so this one is a PRS SE245. Okay, so the reason why we call this 245 is because of the short scale length, which is 24.5 inches, and hence the name 245. Okay, and let's start with the specs of the guitar. This is a typical single cut Les Paul-esque kind of a guitar, if you can see, with the headstock of a PRS, so kind of a hybrid kind of a thing. You don't have the Les Paul mentioned out here because it's not a Gibson, it's a PRS. So there are two variants of this guitar. One is a 245 standard, which is mahogany body without the top, so it's very plain, a little cheaper. The other one, this one, is a SE custom 245, where you have a solid thick mahogany body, very thick mahogany body. It's pretty heavy, and that's what generally single cuts are all about. And along with the heft of the mahogany, it has a maple, beveled maple top. Now if it was colorless out here with the newer models, you can see out here, but here you cannot make out, it's covered with paint. But then this is the mahogany body, this is the maple top. This is about this thick. From you can see the binding here, it's a pretty thick beveled maple top, and you have a flame maple veneer on top, and the flame work is amazing. This one is called the whale blue. Yeah, very fancy name, whale blue. You get in the vintage sunburst, you get in your I think charcoal burst as well. I kind of always liked a blue guitar, which is not that blue. All right, so I like this one. One thing I have changed are the volume and the tone knobs. Okay, now this is not like the typical Les Paul where you have volume, tone like that. Here we have two volumes on top. This volume is for this one, and this is for this one, and the tones as well. And these knobs were black like the normal PRS ones, but I wanted to give it a matching zebra pickup premium look, to say so. The least I could offer by not spending much, not digging a hole in my pocket, is by changing these beautiful tuners, which gives a very premium look as far as I'm concerned. Alright, now it has a fixed tail, and if you see closely, you can see the strings are wrap around for better sustain, and it generally comes with 942 gauge strings, which is very surprising because for a short length they should have used a heavier gauge. That's what I was told, but anyways, you can always replace, it's not a problem. Two pickups, they're using 245S pickups. One is for treble, one is for the bass, which is a very different kind of a pickup, because this one is a little bright as compared to normal models of your Les Paul. You know, Les Paul is a kind of a thicker tone, but this one is a little bright as compared to that. But then of course that's not a problem, because if you want a thicker tone, you can always roll down the tone knob. I mean, that's what the tone knob is there for. Alright, okay, three-way switch, pickup selector. The neck is mahogany. I think it's a three-piece neck, okay, but it's gloss and covered with paint. But it's not that sticky when you're playing, you know, it's not like this very sticky kind of glossy necks. You get a beautiful binding, if you can see, a wooden colored binding all over the body, and in the neck you don't have the binding like the other PRS. Okay, now the frets are medium jumbo, very comfortable, and you have the PRS bird inlays, and since it's a 22 frets, so you don't have the owl in the end, and they are normal PRS non-locking tuners, okay, and they are good enough. I mean, PRS, even the non-locking tuners, I have used a couple of PRSs before. I own two of them. They generally retain the tune. Okay, it's not a problem. You don't need to upgrade to a locking tuner. They are using Graphtec nut out here, very well polished and well cut. The strings sink in deep, and of course, Mr. Paul Reed Smith's bold signature out here. All right, which I don't like just the PRS logo. I personally prefer the signature. Otherwise, it looks incomplete. I mean, PRS without the birds and PRS without the signature, you know, like something is incomplete. All right, now coming back to the neck, the fretboard is rosewood. It's beautiful reddish brown. Okay, beautiful color, generally as rosewoods are. So it's a very basic shaped guitar. You can see a very nice violin beveling out here. You see the curve here, you see the curve here. Okay, it gives a three-dimensional look. You have a beautiful belly cut. Okay, so it sits comfortably, and the neck is a little unusual. If you see this thing out here. I mean, generally the necks are solid from here on, right? But this one is a little different. It has, I think, two pieces or something. It glued in some way out here, so it's very easy for you to reach out to the higher frets. And now this one is, you know, a kind of a guitar where you play without bending much, okay, because the neck is fat and thick. They call it fat slim neck. I don't know slim for what, but it's pretty fat. It's pretty fat. My hands are not very big, probably medium-sized hand, but still it's kind of thick for me. All right, so unless you have huge hands, of course this is not, it could be called thin, but this one is a wide thick neck and very flat, so good for your leads, good for your strumming. It's you know, like multi tasking kind of a guitar, like generally PRSs are. All right, so without moving further, I mean, finally, if I could mention, the flame marks are triple E, and they almost give a beautiful 3D effect. If you can see that, it's very beautifully done. Much better than the AC custom model, the one which I own. That's about AA kind of mark. This one is very vibrant, even though the color is like very muted blue, right? But still, you know, like you can see the mark very well. All right, okay, so let's just see how it sounds with some with the pickups. I have added a little, I'm using a processor out here, Zoom G5N, which I generally use, and I've added a little bit of tube screamer and a little delay. All right, let's just see how it sounds. So this is your bridge pickup, okay, and I haven't if I go for the full volume and the full tone, this is how it sounds. Pretty bright and loud. So that's the reason I'd like to keep my volume knob to about, let's say, 7 or 6 or 7 in between, and the tone knob to about 4 or 5. Okay, so then the sounds better, more like a Les Paul. Okay. Now let's do the same for my neck pickup. Now again, if I take the full volume and the full tone, gain put it down to about 7 and the tone to about 4 or 5. Now let's come down to the middle position where both the humbuckers are working and both the volumes are in about 6 or 7 and the tones are at 6 or 7. Alright? So it sounds good and very different, not like the typical other Les Pauls by Epiphone or Gibson, because it's a little brighter. And if you are not used to brighter tones on a humbucker, then, well, like I told you, roll down your tone. That's what the tone is for. Otherwise, this one is the 9 gauge strings. I haven't changed it from the time I bought it. I generally use 10s and 11s. So yeah, I think it will be better for a short scale length guitar to have a thicker gauge of strings. I'm sorry. Now, one thing, you know, generally most PRS guitars have push and pull single coil split. This don't have that, but it is compensated with our treble bleed circuit. So what happens is, now, so I'm going to experiment that with our with the bridge picker. So see, here there's no sound. So unlike the other guitars where when one rolls down the volume, the gain is lost as well, right? That's generally what the guitars are designed like. But since it's a treble bleed circuit, so even at a low volume, as in your full volume. Okay, so that's a treble bleed circuit for our friends who don't know, which is good for two things. One is if you want to play a constant gain kind of sound, it really helps. You don't have to like fiddle around out here, so you can just concentrate on playing wood. And the other thing is, you know, you just worry about the volume. Okay, you want your volume to be low or high, your gain is not lost. So both the things are actually the same thing. And the reason I like this, because none of my guitars which I've owned so far have this feature. So this is kind of a special feature, and I'm not that person who is satisfied with one guitar. Well, that is one of my vices, if you say so. So I enjoy the treble bleed kind of playing out here, and then if I want a traditional lowering the volume and lowering the gain at the same time, I'd use some of the other guitars. I have plenty to choose from. So the thing is, now about this guitar, aesthetically it's very good looking, one of the best PRSs I've ever seen. But the negative part is, if you want Les Paul kind of a structure in a guitar and Les Paul kind of playability in a guitar, you can also go for what's the other model? It just don't come in my head. It's a signature series. One is Mark Holcomb and the other one is, I just don't remember right now. It comes in Circle, Burst and all that stuff, but that has a tremolo effect as well. The normal PRs, 2-point tremolo. So if you are a kind of a tremolo kind of a guy, then instead of 245, you could go have the same features and buy that model. If you are not much into tremolo or something, then this is better. Fixed bridge, much easier to maintain and all that. Me, in my choice, I prefer either a fixed bridge or I prefer a trem system, something like your Foytos, where you can really dive down low or really screech up high. Alright? That vintage kind of tremolo or something is, like, I have nothing against them, but then I find it very pointless to have it. Alright? Alright. So, I hope I have mentioned and showed all the features of the guitar. If there are any questions, you can always question in the comment box below. And let's see how it plays, you know, with the small short background music. So that's how it plays. Now before I wrap it up, I'll just like to show you how the clean sounds out here, right? Because a lot of people would use a PRS for a clean kind of sounding. So it's a basic use of compressor and a sweep drive and a little reverb. So it's not very fancy. So let's start with the bridge. Going back to the neck. So it's very spanky, even while it has a humbucker. The 245S humbuckers, I'd say, are very spanky as compared to the regular humbuckers which are used by other PRSs. But nevertheless, as most people know, I'm a big sucker for PRS. I love the brand, I love their looks, I love their workmanship, and I love the way it sounds and the way it feels while playing. Now this one is a little heavy, but well, that's a single cut. It's supposed to be a little heavy. But otherwise, if you think you'd just like to have one guitar in your lifetime, with variety of sounds, well, you can use this one. Only the thing is you don't have the chord split like the other PRSs where you use the single tone as well. But otherwise, with the humbucker sound, you can experiment. Like you put in the middle position. Yeah, that's the beauty of Les Paul style guitars. The middle position is the sweetest one, because there you can have more gain on or more volume on this pickup and lesser on this, with more tone on this and less on that, or vice versa. So you can work your ways into, let's say, 1,000 different tones, all right, with the same amp settings. So like I said, the value for money, well, it's about somewhere between $1,000 to $1,500 for the place you live, which is a medium to high ranged, not very high although, range guitar. And if you still insist on that humbucker kind of sound, you might swap the pickups for another, let's say, $500. So that'll be a good investment, because the wood and the fretwork is amazing. It's going to last you a lifetime in proper hands. And the other thing, of course, is this is a good American brand, one of the uber American brands of guitar in the modern world. So it's worth having. And PRS is that company which makes a complete kind of a guitar. They aim for people. Even the standard series ones, they're not very cheap, but then at that price range, like other guitars don't make, the workmanship is not as good as the ones PRS does. And I believe they individually check every guitar before dispatching, which is a very good thing. So thumbs up to PRS. You're doing a good job as always. And if there's anything I'd suggest for you to have or add in the future, maybe the lock-in tuners. Although your tuners are good enough, they don't need constant tuning. They hold tune very well, but that's another upgrade if you feel like. And this one comes with a well-padded classic PRS bag, the grey ones, which is very comfortable to carry around, very waterproof, and very, like pleasant looking, if not very high quality looking or something, but it looks pleasant. So since I'm back after a long time, I've done a review of a new guitar. Please like our channel if you still haven't. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't as yet. Send in your comments, ask questions, give more answers, because I'm as ardent to learn from you about this guitar and any other things as you are from mine, right? And please suggest our channel to your friends as well. Thank you. Till the next time, keep it hard and keep it rocking.